This is going to broadcast a little bit. They changed the system, so we'll take this down once we have the presentations done. It's just,
Okay.
you know that pink hue they have?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be gone.
Don't rustle your papers.
Good. Is that the one, the rustling of the papers will pick it up?
Ours isn't set that. Ours
Okay.
is, we have different settings. Ready? Okay, we're good.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Appreciate you being here. Welcome to our Monday, April 13th board session, and we are going to start the meeting with a moment of silent prayer. And the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, started too fast, sorry.
And treasurer, you can take roll.
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mrs. Thomas?
Here.
Mr. Benton?
Here.
Mr. Koppel?
Here.
Mr. Frazier?
Here.
And we will have the reading of the notice.
This is a public meeting of the Board of Education for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. There's a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes. Upon request of the superintendent, the district shall make reasonable accommodation for a person with a disability to be able to participate in this activity. A recording shall be made of each meeting of the board as administrative aid and shall be preserved as public documents of the board.
Thank you. And additions and deletions?
So I have 7. I know it sounds like a lot. It's that time of the year for personnel, so it was all anticipated, so don't get me wrong. So if you look under resignations, should be D. I believe that's under my section.
Page number?
My page number would be slightly different because I have an annotated version.
Okay.
It should, mine will say
5.
13.
Oh, 5.
Bottom of 5.
Thank you. D, resignation.
Yep, you got it,
Okay.
okay. So Sidra, the .5 school psychologist, we just got her resignation actually, which was expected, but we didn't get that till after the agenda was published. Under certified employment E, should be right that next one.
Yep.
We're gonna remove the intervention specialist. I have TBD in there. We have an applicant we were trying to, and maybe that's under my section, let me see.
Where is that?
Hold on for a second.
Oh,
It's already removed on ours.
removed.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
already
So
got it.
that one you won't have to see, but that
Okay.
was on the original agenda, so, okay. And then I'm adding a few resolutions. We're gonna add resolution 26-04-07A, and that'll be the resignation from the position of Director of Operations. That'll flow because of the Assistant Superintendent discussion tonight. Then I'm adding resolution 26-04-07B, abolishment of the position of Director of Operations. Resolution 26-04-075 is in your agenda, but we had a TBD there because we needed to finish the interview process. And it's for the appointment of the Assistant Superintendent. I'd like to enter Derek Busenberg's name into that line. Resolution 26-04-078 is appointment of Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And we put not to exceed .25. That position we were also waiting until after interviews were finished. I'd like to add Robin Wagner's name in that, and we'll talk about that more when it comes, but that'll be a combination position, so keeping the principal's role, but then adding some center office responsibilities. And lastly, resolution 26-04-079 is appointment of a teacher on special assignment. That was also left TBD to let interviews finish, and would like to add Marissa Hatfield into that line, and those are the 7.
Awesome. And could I get a motion?
All motion?
Second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
All right. And I guess I need a motion to adopt the agenda now, correct? 'Cause that was.
That was,
That was
we
the
need motion-
change.
Okay,
That's
all right,
the
all right. I
motion.
didn't know if we needed a motion for additions. Okay, all right. So we have public remarks. And first up, we have Mary Mongold.
Oh my God. Oh, I know, it's not gonna happen. Okay, hello. As you know, I'm here to talk about the dress code, which I think based on the last board meeting, there's been a lot of great conversations between the community, the board members, teachers, parents, everybody. So I don't want to beat a dead horse or disrespect the process at all, but this is the only place as a parent I have a forum to talk publicly, particularly where I have the board, superintendent, the principals, everybody's ear. So I just want to reiterate a few points. So we are asking, and just kind of clarify what we're asking here. Just to set the record straight, we are not asking that Johnstown-Monroe School District does not have a dress code. We're not asking for that. We are asking for changes in the dress code for the 26-27 school year. And so the way we are asking for that is we are asking that the principals submit changes through the handbook for board approval for the 26-27 handbook. And specific request that we are asking for is that other districts' dress codes are pulled and reviewed to see the similarities. They're all pretty common. Most all of them are about the same except for ours, with a few different minor changes per district, and that's countywide and just in the Central Ohio area. Specifically, we are asking that the changes include the removal of color restrictions, fabric restrictions, pattern restrictions, clothing type restrictions, print restrictions that still fall within the guidelines that is no offensive language, that sort of thing, vulgar, offensive, so forth. And that the removal of the collar requirement is also added to the dress code. I'll just reiterate what I said last month. We are the only school in Licking County to require our students to wear particular fabrics, colors, patterns, and a collar to get an education in our district. And we are requesting that those changes be made in the upcoming school year in the handbook to be presented to you for board approval. That's all.
Thank you. Kevin? Kevin Mongold. Pull it back up.
Good evening. I'd like to first start by saying thank you all for your service, and it's good to see you all again. Like my wife, I'm here to talk about the dress code and what I've learned about the process of how the dress code comes to be. First, the school board has a policy in place, policy 5511, and that policy is provided to the administrator. The administration then adapts that policy into the administrative guideline manual, section 5000, code AG 511. The principals of each building then develop a dress code for their respective building that complies with both the board and administrative policies, and these are then proposed as the dress code section of the Student Code of Conduct. The Student Code of Conduct is then proposed and reviewed and approved by the Board of Education. As part of this process, as stated in the Administrative Guideline Manual, the principals are required to delineate what types of clothing or manner of clothing does not comply with the board policy and why such clothing or manner of wear is not permitted. Keep in mind, the board policy states, and I quote, that each student's mode of dress and grooming is a manifestation of personal style and individual preference. The board will not interfere with the right of students and their parents to make decisions regarding their appearance except when these choices interfere with the educational program of the schools. So, for those board members who are new, please insist that any restriction recommended in the Student Code of Conduct for 2026-2027 has a solid rationale as to how it interferes with our educational program. As city board members who have approved these restrictions in the past, please share how t-shirts, the color purple, the combination of blue and jeans, both of which are approved alone, shirts without a collar, how any of those interfere with the educational program and the rationale shared with you that gave you the confidence to approve these measures and limit our child's First Amendment rights to their freedom of expression. Furthermore, the Administrative Guidelines Manual states that any such restriction on students also applies to central office administration, building administrators, and all professional staff, so that the district leadership of students is by example rather than fiat. When making your determination of policy adherence for 2026-2027, please understand that this alone has isolated female middle and high school students as the only females in the district forced to wear a collar, limited in their fabric choices, patterns, and color choices. In my opinion, this is the very definition of discriminatory action against an isolated group. As a fiduciary responsibility that the board has, I would be cautious in discounting the legal, financial, and PR vulnerabilities that come with the continued approval of these restrictions. Thank you.
That was perfect timing.
Allison Fields?
Good evening. This is my first time at a school board meeting. I'm trying to be a more active parent, and when I heard that we were trying to get the dress code changed, I'm just here to agree with that. My kids grew up in Zanesville, Ohio, which is much different than Johnstown, Ohio, where my kids were able to express themselves through their clothing. When I went to school, I graduated in 2009, and we had a dress code in my school. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Northwest Ohio, but we just didn't have short shorts, spaghetti straps. Like, I don't want any of that. I just want them to be able to wear something that they're comfortable in. I already have 2 kids with some behavioral issues and some trauma that I put them through, so for them to be comfortable in school is my top priority. And because education is a very important thing, I want them to be able to want to be there. My 4th grader will be in middle school the year after next, and I'm really looking forward to seeing some change for us. Thank you.
Kaylee Kaiser.
Hello. I too am here for the dress code reform. I really don't think that I can say it better than Mary or Kevin, but I do want to just put an exclamation point on the fact that we are not asking for no dress code. Somehow that got out there. I don't understand it, but it got out there, so I just want to put a stamp on that. We do want a dress code. We just want it to be a reasonable dress code for our students. Again, no color, fabric, or pattern restrictions. The removal of the need for a color, and that I would like to add that our students be allowed to wear hoodies. I think that is reasonable. I do not understand how that is a safety hazard. But if you determine that that is a safety hazard, please do explain why. And then also too, just to bring up the fact that there is, that our parents and families are asked to buy two dress, or they have to buy 2 modes of dress for all their kids in school and out of school, and that is just, that is an expense that you're asking our families to endure, and this is a public school. So that's it.
Anybody else who didn't make it onto the list? That-
I actually didn't prepare anything, but I just have 2 questions. So when you did that resolution earlier and you guys changed it, does that mean that we'll have no school psychologist?
No, we have school psychologists. There's one tonight on the agenda who's being approved.
Okay. I actually spent some time with the middle school this week talking about the dress code. And one of the things that does repetitively come up is that the community or the people pushing against the dress code don't want any dress code at all. And we have 2 schools in our district currently operating without a collar. So I'm not asking you to change something that I am asking you to change something we have, but I'm not asking you to go any further than just decluttering this part and using what we already use for the other schools. I think if when we go from 5th grade to 6th grade and do so many changes with what their wardrobe is and what they're allowed to wear on their body, it's a difficult time to institute that kind of change. So I would just like to continue to go with what the elementary school and the intermediate school are allowed to. Thank you.
All right. And our first presentation.
Our first presentation tonight, I'm going to introduce Gina Grimaldi. And you saw this a few weeks ago, but Gina's going to come up and talk about Vantage as data centers. And one of the things that we collaborated on was not only the data center aspect, but also just career exploration. So we had all of our 9th graders. We tried to coordinate with area school districts, but it was hard to align schedules, and especially around spring break. So Gina and her team came out here, and we had a great day. After you make some of your comments, we will also have some students come up and share some of their perspectives. I think we have 3 students. And then Gina, when you come up, will you also talk about, is it 7 by 24? Is that the, one of the things that Gina will talk about, and this is not done yet, but she belongs to a larger organization, I think Vanessa, right? And they're talking about scholarships as well, possibly even this year that they would be able to award a few scholarships to our students. And that's been something we've been fostering, so we don't have anything finalized on that yet, but it could be for students going into certain areas of career tech. So Gina, do you want to come up to the podium and give a little bit of information, and then when you're done, the board may have some questions. And, anything else you want to share? And then we'll have our students come up as well too.
Great. Hi everyone, thank you for the introduction, Dr. Wagner. My name is Gina Grimaldi. I'm an engineer for a data center development company called Vantage. Vanessa, I'll let you introduce yourself as well.
And my name is Vanessa Jester. I'm the Community and Citizenship Director for Turner Construction, one of the construction GCs on the project.
Great. So yeah, as Dr. Wagner mentioned, we held an event here at the high school a couple weeks ago now. Wednesday, March 25th was International Data Center Day. So we held an event here. Essentially, we are part of an organization called the 7 by 24 Exchange, which is a national organization that connects colleagues that work in the data center industry, puts on social networking events and community engagement events. And one of our big goals for this year is workforce development. As we all know, technology is playing a greater and greater role in our lives. And because of that, as we increase internet usage, cloud storage usage, and even the developments in the AI, artificial intelligence world, that drastically increases the demand for data centers, which is where companies like Vantage come in. We build data centers across the US. We're building a campus of 3 buildings in New Albany that we're about halfway through construction in now. But throughout the entire life cycle of a data center, it also increases the demand for a skilled workforce. So we need architects and engineers to design the data centers, construction managers and skilled tradesmen to build them, and then operational specialists to maintain the data centers and ensure that they're running 24/7 without any interrupted power supply. So all of that kind of goes to show we're really trying to engage some of the youth in our communities to kind of spread awareness that this is an industry that has a growing demand and that there are growing numbers of job positions that students can start taking advantage of even now at the high school level. So at this event that we put on at the high school, we talked about some of the trades programs that the school has to offer, the electrical program and the engineering program. We brought in equipment that goes into data centers to kind of demonstrate how that works for them to get some hands-on exposure, and just sort of talked about the data center industry as a whole. Vanessa, you want to add anything about community engagement?
Absolutely. I think one of the most important outcomes from Data Center World Day and events like this is that the students get to come out and really see locally what is going on. The actually is thousands of career opportunities that are out there. And our partners came out, other GCs came out, the building trades came out. Like Gina said, some of our partners came out just to talk about the real opportunities that are going on these data centers. And I say it all the time, when you go into the trades, it starts on one project and then it just continues to go on to other projects. And they have just such a wealth of opportunity to create their own career paths in these industries. And so the students got to feel it, see it, touch it, learn about the data centers that's going up in the neighborhoods that's surrounding them, and also the opportunities. People often say, what is your position? And I simply say, connecting construction to community. That's it. Literally in a nutshell, that is it. My job is to make sure that these students understand that there is a wealth of opportunities out there, and then connecting with school districts to say, how do we do that? How do we make sure that they know about all of these career opportunities, that technology that's going on? And it's just like this with the Data Center World Day and partnering with Vantage 7x24, making sure that our students hear about those opportunities. It was a great experience.
So in summary, we'd just like to thank you all, everybody who had a role in helping us plan and put on the event. It was a very impactful experience for us to connect with the community and with the students. We hope it was impactful to the students, and we hope that in coming years we can scale the event to be even larger, include other surrounding schools, to just kind of get the word out there about this growing industry that has a lot of opportunity. So, thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
And then Mr. Shipton is he has three students he wants to bring up, and you wanted to say a little bit first, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies. You did a wonderful job. You stole my thunder. I can probably rip these up now. Now, I want to thank Vantage, of course, and Robertson Construction for providing our 135 freshman students the opportunity to learn about data centers and what they are. And then we highlighted our upperclassmen, electrical trade students, shared with our freshman students, our underclassmen, what exactly a year one and year two student in the electrical trades program encounters on a daily basis, and the opportunities there as well. And then the afternoon with the career fair, around lunchtime with the career fair, providing those vendors and companies that come in and talk to our freshmen. And Dr. Wagner started the event off in the morning over at the PAC with a nice introduction with the freshman class on the message of it's never too soon or too early to start thinking about your career pathways and things. So that was the overall theme of the day. So I did select 3 freshman students to share their takeaways and experiences of the day. So at this time, I'd like to call up Haley Grice, Jessica Yang, and Elizabeth or Ella Hebel.
We went around the school and to 2 different classrooms, and I think that overall I learned that there are many different careers involved with data, and that many people who have jobs in that kind of field enjoy the hands-on part, because we also got to talk to multiple different people, and I just thought that was kind of fun.
On International Data Center Day, we had the opportunity to visit different places and talk to people who work in data centers. Before this, I didn't really know what a data center was, but now I understand how important they are to things we use every day, like the internet and apps. I learned more about how data centers operate and the different kind of jobs people have there. It's interesting to see how many career options are part of IT, because I didn't realize how many options there were before this. We also heard a lot about how data centers could bring jobs to Ohio, which could help people in our communities and give students like me more opportunities in the future. Overall, this experience taught me a lot and made me start thinking more about possible careers in the future. Thank you.
During this experience, I learned that there are so many different career options in this field. For example, I talked to one person at the job fair, and she told me her job is to talk to employers of the workers and negotiate salaries and working conditions. I enjoyed learning that I could still have a desktop job working in this field, not being limited to jobs where I can only choose a hands-on job. Thank you for listening.
Any questions for any of our presenters?
I don't have questions, but a thank you to the students for sharing your experience. And Gina and Vanessa, thank you for being here. We appreciate your partnership with the school. We've talked so much about workforce development and how exposure is so important for our students, right? I say sometimes you don't know what you like until you know what you don't like, right? And so just being able to see, I'm sure I would have learned a lot of that too. So I just appreciate you being here. Looking forward to building opportunities for our students with you guys.
Yeah. Anything else? I just want to echo that. Thank you. Vanessa, you and I met a while ago, right, with Turner. I think you've been here a few times because you were. I'm trying to remember. I think I first met you when we started the electrical trades program, right? And you came in, we connected. But I have to tell you, like, from my position, our ultimate responsibility is to make sure we have students ready post high school, and there's really just three options, right? So, the area that's the hardest for us is employment. Mm-hmm. If we have students who want to go on to some form of secondary education, college, trade school, we can line all that up. We have people we can bring in. We have some students still go to the military. We can, bring students in. But the hardest part is employers because, I tell them all the time, like, we are highly malleable in public schools and we can reverse engineer something. And this has been, I think, one of the testaments, right? And it went really well. We started in the PAC, as Mr. Shipton said, and then we used our new hitting area back there, smart for all the planning, because we could pull the net back and get that whole room. And we had vendors set up there, and I know you saw some pictures. We had the room circled there. And then in this room, we served lunch, so here we get to use this building again. And I have to tell you, it went so well. I felt like it was the 5th anniversary or something. Like it wasn't our inaugural year doing it, and I was really impressed. And so really just appreciate everything you're doing because it's so important that we get the students our exposure. From a student standpoint, I get to mill around a little bit, and it was funny because a couple of the freshmen were talking, and they're like, are we gonna get to go in those rooms? And they were talking about the electrical trades and the engineering. And I said, yeah. They're like, I didn't think you're allowed to go in there until you're a junior or senior. And I think to the point that it's like, let's get them in there now and start looking at, because when you think about the setup was there, I mean, not only electrical trades and our engineering program, but look at the diversity of what was offered there. You had employers from start to finish. One of the students talked about an HR function that you could, get, thinking about things there. So, as well as you can be a pipe fitter, you could be an electrician, you could be anything, a lot of digital controls. So just a nice opportunity, and we really appreciate the partnership. And like I said, I think a little bit more is coming. We'll see what happens. We have scholarships and awards that'll come up in May, so we're getting close. But if we can get it done beforehand, I think there's a significant scholarship that's coming, maybe for a couple kids even, that we can target for the future. So but thank you again. Thank you for everyone for being here. This is really exceptional. So, yeah. You don't have to stay.
You do not, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to stay. We kind of coached them up. I'm sure you want to stay for the entire board meeting, but
thank you.
And thank you, our students too, by the way. Thanks, students. Next, I want to ask Aaron Geis to come up. We have some winter sports recognition, and while Mr. Geis is coming up, he's going to shortly exit after the presentation as well. I think you need to get to a baseball game?
Baseball and softball.
Baseball and softball tonight.
Hosting Northridge.
Yeah, so he's going to try and take care of that. But if you want to go ahead with your presentation, Mr. Geis.
Yeah, good evening, board. Usually when I'm here, I'm talking about good things with athletics, so it's always a good time to be here in front of you all. We're continuing to have a good year in athletics, and we are excited to talk about some things tonight regarding two of our coaches and one of our stellar student athletes. I'm going to bring them up actually right now. So first, I want to bring up Kaylin Cox. She's a member of our girls basketball team. She can come on up here. Kyle Higgins, he's our boys head basketball coach, and then Scott Helmke, he is our girls head basketball coach. And before I let each of them talk, it just speaks to all their accolades that we're about to talk about. It just speaks to how well we have performed. There's reasons why they've received these accolades this year. And so I want to speak on Kaylin first. She carries actually most of the weight here. She was special mention All-State as a sophomore in the state of Ohio for girls basketball. She was District 11 Player of the Year. She was LCL Player of the Year, first team All-District, and then also first team LCL. So those are obviously very rare accomplishments for a student athlete to make, let alone a sophomore. So these are exciting things. We enjoy her and her presence both in the building and on the court, so, and in the classroom. And she's a great student. We're excited for the next, almost two and a quarter years that we have left here. So Coach Higgins, I want to speak on next. Coach Higgins was, again, our boys basketball head coach. He was Central District Division IV Coach of the Year and LCL Coach of the Year. Led our boys to a district runner-up in Division IV this year for boys basketball. Scott Helmke is our girls head coach, District 11 Coach of the Year, and then additionally the LCL Coach of the Year. So a lot of Coach of the Years, a lot of Player of the Years in our conference. So I'm going to give each of them some time to talk about themselves. I'm going to bring Kaylin up first, then Coach Helmke, and then Coach Higgins. Okay. So thank you.
I just want to thank my parents and my family. Like, I couldn't do it without them. Them taking me all my practices, all my games, pushing me to work hard. I want to thank my teammates for pushing me every day in practice. As well as my coach. Couldn't be here without him. Thanks, guys.
So, just a couple other things about Kaylin. And I've said this multiple times in the past 2 years, but she's the hardest working athlete, boy or girl, I've ever been around. She's probably the most competitive girl I've ever been around, or boy. She pushes me as a coach. I don't want to let her down. And what we do in practice and things, ways that we try to challenge her, I feel it's my job and my duty to make her the best that I can from the 4 months that we have them from November to February or March, to make her the best that she can be along with our team. And as she's the leader of our team, she's kind of that coach on the floor. She knows a lot of times what I want to do or what we need to do, and kind of that makes it a little bit easier on my end. But she's also got a college offer from Division I Murray State. She got one in the summer last year, right? As a freshman, she's been offered by Navy. She's got several Division I colleges that are watching her here over this spring and summer. So I'm really excited for her to see where she's at the end of this AAU season. I think she's going to have a lot more opportunities. A lot more colleges to choose from. But as a coach, as her coach, it makes coaching fun. Kyle and I do it because we love the game and we love working with kids. But when we have somebody like Kaylin who is so competitive and wants to win and wants to do well, it really makes it good and fun for us. So her teammates, her winning the LCL this year, for our second year in a row, and I know I can speak for Kyle, but for the boys to win it as well, I think was a pretty big thing, for our boys and girls in the same season to do it. But that's always our goal. That's our first team goal of every year. And Kaylin, when she sets those sights on those goals, she hits it and she leads our team to hit it. So anyway, Kaylin, congratulations.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me tonight and us as well. A few thank yous, and then we'll get out of here. But obviously, Coach, congratulations to you, Kaylin, to you as well. Coach and I talk a lot on the phone because we're always, wrestling over gym space and trying to figure out who's going to play where and what we're going to do. And Coach has been awesome. He's a huge support since I got here. And just a great guy to talk to. I know he loves the kids. He loves the game. And so we're lucky to have him for sure. Want to thank Aaron and Ashley and Mr. Shipton and the rest of the administrators that help us on a day-to-day basis. There's so many things that go into a basketball season, a successful basketball season behind the scenes. So all the volunteers from our parents, people that set the gym up, all the stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. Super grateful for that and very appreciative because it makes our job easier. I want to also thank, we've got a couple feel my mom's the one like recording right here. Like, mom's never changed, you know. And then that's my wife, and then my daughter AJ, and then my other daughter is actually due June 10th. So she's coming. She's coming. So, yeah, I'm so grateful for them. Mom and dad, you know, grew up and instilled a lot of the things in my life that I think I try to carry on, and work ethic and how we prepare and you know, just not being entitled, like working for what we get. And I think that's something that's obviously impacted me, and I hopefully can impact young people with that as well. And then my wife, married to a coach is not an easy job. She's really like the coach of the year is absolutely like her coach of the year. I'm just like so grateful for her and all that she does. You know, to have a 2-year-old at home running around and then, you know, trying to wrangle her. She's obviously an all-star in her job as well. She's, as most people say, I outkicked my coverage with her in a lot of ways. And so, you know, I'm so grateful just for the day-to-day that she takes care of so I can go and do what I love to do and what I feel called to do. And then, as Coach said, you know, for me, this is, you know, I want to do everything I can to put everything back on our staff and our players. This is not an individual award, and Coach would say the same thing. This is absolutely not a me award. This is an us award. Without the coaching staff that we have, without the players that we have, the guys that we have in that locker room, I'm not giving this speech right now. So I just want to obviously just shed light on them. You know, our coaching staff does so much. They spend a ton of time with the guys, you know, film, breakdown, scouting, time away from families to make us as successful as we can be. And then our guys, I mean, it comes down to them. I mean, they were phenomenal. Just an unbelievable group of guys. We talk about 3 things in our program, and that's integrity. So we want to do everything we can with integrity and high character. Selflessness, so we always stay team before self, and then excellence in everything that we do. And so those things are values that we are kind of the bedrock, the cornerstone of our program. And those guys not only emulate those things or adopt them, they are them. And so they are integrity, they are selflessness, they are team before self, they are excellence. And so because of that, we were able, I think, to have a very successful year. You know, 19 wins, competed for a district championship, winning the LCO. Those are things that obviously are goals, but bigger than that, they're going to take away so many lessons and opportunities and fighting through difficult things, being resilient. Those are things we'll take beyond the basketball court, and when the ball stops bouncing, it's going to serve them very well. So grateful for that, grateful for the opportunity, but it is 1,000,000,000%, you know, family, friends, support. And so I just want to say thanks to all them, and hopefully we'll keep it rolling, and go Johnnies. So.
All right. So I want to thank my wife. Thanks, Kyle, for just completely bearing me.
Coach, don't you?
Well,
wait, Coach.
Here's the kicker. Here's the
Coach.
kicker. As some of you may not know this, that weren't sitting in the back. Today is our 30th anniversary. So I brought her up here as a date, and we decided to come here. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank her for her support. So, at least I didn't get out the door before I forgot. Thank you.
I was just going to thank both of you coaches. It is incredibly hard work. It's sometimes thankless work, so I appreciate you. Kaylin, I know we put you on the spot. We look forward to seeing you up here every season.
That's right.
You have a very busy and a very hardworking family. I'm so excited we get to see you for the next 2 years. Don't you consider leaving us one day before you can leave us? Because it's a joy to watch you as an athlete.
That's great.
And I want to thank you, too, for not only being great coaches, but great leaders, and developing great leaders within our student body. And I think that's really important. When I listen to both of you, and I've known Scott for maybe 30 years. Okay, but again, you're talking about teamwork. You're talking about developing leaders. You're talking about student development, and to me, that's just as important as the wins that you get and the accolades that you get. So I really appreciate that, and I hope that eventually we can make your life a little bit easier once we get a building built for you. And your scheduling will come a little bit better. Look at Scott, he's thought about it.
We're ready for it.
But we really do appreciate it. We really appreciate the development of the students and to leaders and great citizens as they move forward in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Well, it's hard to follow that up, but we
I
have
know.
one more presentation. So this one will be quick, and we actually have a slide to put up. But the past couple years, the Board of Education has suspended classroom supply requirements or fees for parents, and then some student fees as well too. So we want to be able to put up that slide, I believe. Mr. Busenberg?
Coach is talking to him. Coach is talking to him.
We're ready
right
for
now.
our
It's
slide.
It's coach's time.
Yeah.
I'm getting that, it's not my fault.
I heard the 30th wedding anniversary. I should say so. So Mrs. Drummond can talk about this, but
Yeah, so last year was our first year of actually waiving some fees that we would assess to students, and also then providing all the back-to-school supplies that students would need for their basic education. And this is just a summary of those costs. While we're not waiving all the fees, those fees that are required for general instruction during the school day, we felt like we wanted to be able to not assess that to parents and be able to provide that. So we were captured those costs so that we could report out. And you can see that the fees that we have waived for those general instructional type classroom supplies were $28,000 last year, and this year we've spent $27,000 year to date, $27,394. The supply costs that in providing the back to school supplies for families, $61,000 last year was what it cost the school district to provide those supplies, and $65,000 this year. This, again, these are for the supplies that are the general things that are used in the classroom. And the intention here was to, relieve some of that burden from families. We could maximize some of our own district purchase power. And for, just over $90,000, we could relieve the different burdens that are placed on families for, a time of year when they have a lot of outlay. Anything else you'd like to add on that?
no, so we have this as a resolution later tonight. We did budget this, again, this would be our third year moving forward if the board approves it, but wanted to make sure we got back to you and, again, we had this organized. Going into our third year, I will tell you that we've got a little bit of input from staff too that we need to think about making sure students still understand that even though their parents didn't buy this, they indirectly did, and taking care of everything that's provided to them, because we, just because it's available, you still need to take care of your items and make sure. The other thing that's become a question is, we provide the basics, like in supplies, so if somebody wanted to do more, if you wanted to do something more for your child, you still have that opportunity. I've talked with a few people about it, somewhat of a rite of passage to go school shopping and get some things ready, so you can still do that. This doesn't preclude. But what this does allow us to do is level set so that we have all the same, items in the schools that are required, all the same tissues and hand wipes and all. And then it also allows us to leverage our buying power too. It doesn't seem like much, but a penny or so on mass quantity makes a big difference, and we can come in and really leverage that so we can get costs in the aggregate that people can't do in a smaller setting. So, but happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, there's a resolution later tonight that asks the board to approve this for going into the third year.
I was just gonna add, I mean, this isn't a guarantee year to year, and as growth and supplies, costs could change, this could change, so we do assess this every year. And I just wanna also remind you, this does not waive our technology fee. So,
Right.
and so that was also a consideration too, of like the cost of class fee, supplies, and technology can become, so, a lot for some families. So I do appreciate that we've been able to, cover this cost, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention technology, since Alan and I are on the technology committee. And that is because as we have budgeted moving forward, in order to keep our technology newer and running as it should be, we do have to collect some monies for that to keep in a refresh cycle.
Yeah. So if there's no other questions, then we'll have that for resolution later tonight.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm going to go off script for just 1 second before we get to the discussions. One of the things was just asked of me about, are we going to respond about the dress code and some of the questions, that were brought up tonight. We don't typically do that. That's why we talk about this not being a public meeting, because you want to be careful, you prepare for those things. But in the printed agenda, I do have an item under my section talking about superintendent survey, and that's one of the things we'll talk about there. So
Okay.
we'll get that later on tonight. Sorry, we're back on script now. So we're ready for discussion. So we have buildings, grounds, safety, and construction. That meeting will come later in the month, so we won't have that right now. Curriculum, athletics, extracurriculars. We did have a meeting on April 8th.
All right, got lots of notes. We had a great meeting on the 8th. Some of the things that we discussed were starting with the baseball trip, and not just with baseball, but we're also looking at trips on cycles. We've previously discussed what we think is appropriate, and there's just a lot of different variables to consider as far as equity, cost, balancing sports trips with band trips and all the other trips. So we don't have any decisions that have been made, but we are looking at all of the different things that we can look at to make sure, as whether it's sports or other activities, they're planning trips. We've got a cadence that we feel is appropriate for student experience and balancing, like I said, all the other opportunities that also come a student's way. Okay, good. We also talked about instructional coaches. So currently we have math and literacy coaches in our building, but next year we are going to kind of utilize that term as instructional coaches, knowing that coaching isn't necessarily curriculum dependent. Coaches can instruct and support teachers in a variety of different curriculums and subjects. So looking forward to seeing that. We found a lot of value in our coaches, so we are glad that we're going to continue to use that. MAP testing. And we talked about a lot of stuff. Again, looking at just different data that we have for the year and continuing to use it. And we also will be required under a House bill next year to use MAP testing as a benchmark. We also talked about foundations, and there are two different versions. We have the version 2.0. We are hoping that this state will approve the 3.0 version soon. Either way, whether we keep our current 2.0 version or upgrade to the 3.0, which has some benefits for our staff, and whether or not they approve it, we will take some of their ideas from that. So more on that, whether or not the state will approve that. And so I think we have that on the agenda to not exceed. So we will put the cost for up to the 3.0 version. Again, one of the benefits of that is that it has the Spanish support kit, which we think would be extremely valuable to our students here. But we've got that to not to exceed the cost of the 3.0, but should the state not approve that version, we will stick with our 2. We also talked about Chromebook refresh, which we will also talk about in technology. We have a cycle in which we are refreshing computers. This year's refresh will include 4th grade in addition to the standard cycle. So we are going to try to slowly jump and get some of those elementary grades. So I think for the future years, we will look at grades 3 and 2, and then the year after we will do K1. As those are aging and wearing, we want to make sure we've got good computers. We also talked about summer stipends for summer education. So some of the things that teachers will be helping with is 3rd grade reading guarantee and the OST administration. And then we had a final conversation about our social studies curriculum adoption. Debbie, I'm looking at you. The staff, the administrators, the board, we put a lot of time into researching and looking at that. And originally we weren't talking about splitting the curriculum, but after everyone kind of talked about what they feel is best and appropriate for their buildings, we've got the recommendation to do Savis for 4th and 5th grade curriculum starting next year, and McGraw-Hill for grades 6 through 12. With that, we always do summer PD when we get new curriculum for our staff, so that they have time to learn all of that, the online components. Also hoping to get materials early enough so that teachers, believe it or not, teachers want to take those materials home before summer break or as early as they can on summer to get comfortable with it and start their lesson planning for next year. And I think that was it. Anything I missed that you thought was significant? Okay. All right.
Good. Finance, we haven't met. We'll schedule something, or a meeting at some point, but we had so many meetings there prior, we were in good shape. Insurance, our next meeting isn't until May 7th, so we have time there. We did have a policy meeting, and that met also on April 8th.
Oh, it's me again. Hi. So, our policy committee, I'm looking at my very tiny notes on here. We reviewed updates from the 44.2, update from Neola, which came out in January. All of those are on for a first reading tonight. And then another thing that we are continuing to discuss is how we have an opportunity to share publicly during first readings and second readings with the community what policies we're looking at. So we are looking at a couple different schools and what options they provide. We talked about taking policies and having that draft watermark over it, which can be confusing, and we also don't want that getting put places it shouldn't be. So we were looking at some of the stuff that another school district does. It's kind of cumbersome and it takes a lot of time, so we haven't made any final decisions. Derek's been really good about, he's like, we can do it if we need to do it, which I appreciate. But we're still kind of looking through some different options. So like I said, in the time between having the first reading and second reading, if you're a parent, you're a community member, and you wanna have an opportunity to look over what we are looking over, we're looking at the best way to share that. And that was it for policy.
And then technology, we'll most likely have a meeting next month. That'll be our annual technology meeting. And then LPDC, Local Professional Development Committee, met on March 19th. I'll just give a quick overview of that meeting. So Stephanie Stuckey was present, Laura Kurtz, Renee Britton, Annette Price, Robin Wagner, Abby Fitz, and Brad Wehrman. They had one professional development or individual professional development plan, which they approved. They also had staff, up to 6, who were up for license renewal, and all were approved, including Mrs. Drummy, so that's good news to keep us the treasurer, right? I know she's on the list there, so that's good. And then we have staff members who want to be approved for some of their professional development to align with their individual professional growth plan or development plan. We have a few other staff we're working through. One is working on a license transition, so that the LPDC is helping with that. And then they're also looking at a vendor and certification to help with some of the activities that they're managing. And then they have one staff member who her license is not populating as expected, so the committee's working on that. They've worked their way through their committee meetings this month, and this year, and their next meeting, which will be a quarterly meeting, will be on April 14th, which will be at 12 o'clock at the board office, and then they should have probably 2 more after that, and they'll finish up the school year. So that's LPDC, Local Professional Development Committee, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Nope.
Want to go to consent?
Yep.
Consent agenda, so we have resolution 26-04-071.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Let me run through these real quick?
Yes.
Okay. First one, we don't talk about why, but there's some unpaid days there, and you can see the staff who are listed. Under district tutor, we're asking a change there, and just so you're aware, we had a tutor, but she's not able to provide all the time that was needed, so she's had to back down because of other commitments. So we've added Kevin Hickman to that list, who would pick up some of her time. We have resignations, and you should have that on your list there, including Sidra as the .5 school psychologist. You have some other positions there. Employment of instructional-wide coaches. Mrs. Davis, you already mentioned that. Pupil activity, we have a list of pupil activity we'd like to see the board approve. Volunteers listed on there. You can see a familiar name there. We'll keep her busy. And then we have non-renewals, the next section. It's pages on that. And just to clarify, anytime you have a supplemental position, so whether we consider that or a pupil activity, depends on your classification, that's just a one-year contract, so there's no guarantee of future work. So what we do is we non-renew those all. Now, sometimes people say to me, well, there's a popular, we had 2 coaches today. If they want to continue coaching, they're most likely going to be the coaches, but we have to formally non-renew them, and then you start over again because they're just one-year contracts. So that's a long list. I often get questions about that. Same thing for the next section, which are volunteers. We non-renew them when they're, mostly for athletics, when they're expiring there. Next, we have board minutes that Mrs. Drummy has helped prepare with her team. Those are attached. And we have the monthly financial report, which is also attached. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions before we call the roll? All right, go ahead.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Drummy, next one's for you.
All right. We have resolution to approve the transfer of funds from the Intel grant to the Washington DC Scholarship Fund for $5,000.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Call the roll?
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
That was a very generous donation for our GC trip, so.
Very generous.
Yeah, we actually are moving it between funds right now because we have some monies donated by Intel. I think they're also going to match that, so we'll end up putting it back in this fund,
Okay.
but just for timing standpoint, some of that's on me, honestly. I've got to get back to them, and we're always trying to see where we can help. Part of what this does, though, is it helps with students and families who want to go on the trip, met all the criteria, but don't have all the supports they need. So it's very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. Next resolution, you ready?
Ready.
Okay, this will go into my section. So resolution 26-04-073 is the 28-29 district calendar.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
This is one of these resolutions where you don't have to vote on this tonight.
Yeah.
This is just an informational one. Because we have board policy 8210, which is our school calendar policy, what's required is that the Board of Education address topics relating to school calendar. I know we've done some of this through committee. And we're supposed to be looking at the total number of hours in a school year, length of the school day, and beginning and end dates of instruction. So I'll read through some of those highlights for you. And then if there's no concerns, we have to let it sit there for about a month. And then next board meeting in May, we would ask for your approval. And I would highlight again, this is far ahead. This is the 28-29, but we try to do that because it's good for staff, good for families.
Absolutely.
Especially with graduation, and if you have families who have limited travel opportunities, you can say, okay, let's start looking ahead, because there's certain things that might alter a little bit in this, where we might move like parent-teacher conferences or something, but once this is confirmed, we typically don't change start dates or graduation. So in the calendar, which you have, again, this is for the 28-29 school year. The first student day is Wednesday, August 16th, and this is 2028. The last day for students is Thursday, May 29th. There are 175 instructional days, and we have a difference between 7-12 and K-6. 6.5 instructional days, or 6.5 hours per day in grades 7-12, and then in K-6, we have a shorter day of 6 hours. When you look at the total on that, you're interested in the details, from grades 7 through 12, that ends up being 1,137. 1.5 hours if they complete all the days. They're here every day. And in K-6, it's 1,050 hours. We're well beyond the state minimums in both of those. The calendar is a little different. You know, whenever you're dealing with calendars, it's about every 5 to 6 years as a reset. So this one's a little bit, this was a harder one to get organized, but it's slightly different because of where Christmas and winter break and New Year's fall. And then we also were able to move some things around with professional development, and we have teacher compensation days, so if they stay a couple nights late for parent-teacher conferences, they get those days off during the workday, a typical school day, I should say. So again, no action required, you know, for you today, but are there any questions I can answer for you about the calendar?
Mr. Busenberg, I saw that you changed my, my nitpicky thing from blue to purple, so thank you. It looked like there were 2 days off of school, but one was a blue showing the end of the grading period, and then the next day was and I said, if your phone camera's just, like the lighting's just off, you're gonna think there's no school that day. So he switched it to purple for me, so thank you.
Any other questions I can answer for the board?
Well, I'd like to thank the calendar committee. Everyone may think that it's very simple to generate a calendar for the school district, but it's not. And you're trying to match, you know, educational experiences for the students, right? We don't want to have a situation where you go to school for 2 days and then you're off for 3, because it's basically you're wasting those 2 days because they're going to forget. So it's very difficult to balance everything, and it takes, you got to take your hat off to the calendar committee for taking the time to look at all the details to make sure everything kind of fits educationally, right? And I want to thank you on behalf of the board. They're all shaking their heads yes, because we all realize how complicated it is, right?
There's graphs and charts involved, scary stuff.
Well, and, you know,
Truly,
Mr. Benton,
it's a
you,
lot.
excellent point. I was going to say as much, but Mr. Busenberg really leads that for us. And there's a lot of detail behind that, but then you have to work with staff, you know, and I'll tell you, principals, leadership team help with that, but Mrs. Schaefer helps on that too. There's a requirement in our collective bargaining agreement, so we bring staff together, and so it's really a collaborative process. And you're always setting up the next calendar. You're never done. It's one of those jobs that you know.
Yeah.
But I applaud the district for looking so far ahead. This is really good because it helps families. Anything else? Okay, so if you think of anything else between now and next month, let me know, but otherwise we will get this to you and ask for approval. So again, nothing needed with that resolution. If you're ready, I'll go to the next resolution, which is Resolution 26-04-074, which is creation of the position of Assistant Superintendent.
And a motion for that?
A motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
This
Cool,
would
I'm
start
doing
with August 1st of the 26-27 school year.
All right, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
And then one of my added resolutions, 26-04-074A, is resignation from the position of Director of Operations.
Can I get a motion for that?
I'll motion.
And a second.
I'll second. Okay, go
And
ahead.
this would be for Derek Busenberg, and that would be at the end of the 25-26 school year, which would be July 31st.
All right, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
And Mr. Benton?
Yes.
So Mrs. Lowe helps me, you know, prepare these agendas and all, and there's so much detail. I mean, there are, you know, there are probably like 5 to 7 iterations of this agenda. She wanted me to kind of take a pregnant pause right now and just note that Mr. Busenberg's technically unemployed.
Yeah.
She wanted
Are
me-
you scared?
She wanted me to make sure that if we ended the meeting now, we would be, you know, so it would not be good for Mr. Busenberg. Okay, sorry, let me get back to the seriousness. Resolution 26-04-074B is abolishment of the position of Director of Operations.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
And, you know, that'll also be July 31st of this year.
July 31st.
July 31st. I know, I was like, when is the end of the school year, technically? Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
If it were really fun, we'd skip Resolution 75, but I'll go through it anyway, so. Resolution 26-04-075 is appointment of Assistant Superintendent.
And a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
So that would be Mr. Busenberg, and that would be a 3-year contract, and that would start August 1st, 2026. I do want to thank the board for helping to look ahead, and we've talked about succession planning, and you know, I think that it's not just in the changes of the titles here, but it's also going to be responsibilities and some things that we can do to prepare for the future. Personally, I've really enjoyed working with Mr. Busenberg. He was a high school principal when I came here, and I heard wonderful things about him and the previous superintendent. Mr. Dixon said, you got to watch him. I think he'll be good for the future. And then when Mrs. Seibel kind of wanted to retire, we didn't really let her. We let her come back after she retired and come back half-time for direct curriculum. But the first person that we talked to was Mr. Busenberg, and I just continue to be impressed with him. So I really appreciate the board considering this. I know you have to vote next, but I do think it makes a lot of sense for the future of our school district, and he's been here for a long time and a lot of dedication. I do appreciate it.
Agreed. Thank you. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
So he's technically re-employed now, so.
It
didn't last long.
They didn't time that, so.
Hope he didn't book a vacation.
Yeah. Yes. So technically that's a break in service, but it was probably about 3 or 4 minutes, so we'll have to time that. Okay, next resolution is 26-04-076. It's the resignation. I don't think we had to accept this one, we'll skip.
No.
The resignation,
No.
point 5, Director of Curriculum Instruction and Technology, and this is Mrs. Debbie Seibel, effective July 31st, 2026.
A motion for this one?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Like I said, I think we should skip this one too.
Yeah, probably.
But I have to tell you, in all fairness, we'll celebrate Debbie at another time, but when she wanted to retire back in 2023, we talked about some things, and you know, it's exciting. She has family here, and she wanted to see some of this through, and she said, well, maybe if I came back half-time, and you know, we had focused the job a little bit, and she never fails to disappoint. She's such a fount of knowledge, you know, as well too.
Really
I
is.
mean, if you need to know something,
Yeah.
you know, she's my go-to. I've called her on days off and all too, but she's such a wonderful person. Debbie's one of these people, I will say this more formally when we recognize her, but I've worked with her for 4 years. I feel like I worked her in a good way for my life. I mean, she's just that good of a person, and really appreciate her. So, but we'll let her, I think, retire at the end of this year, but because it's good for her.
We're lucky we've kept you as long as we have.
Yeah, the place will not be the same, Debbie.
No.
You know,
We are
You've been
very-
here in so many different positions over the years that we've known you.
Yes.
And you've excelled in all of them. So
Yeah.
we're gonna really miss you, right? It's not gonna be the same.
We're very lucky to have you. I am so happy that you worked with me on the curriculum committee, and when I came on the board, you kept telling me it's okay, and kept pushing me just a little bit more. So I appreciate that, and you'll definitely be missed, but please come back and visit us.
She has a grandchild
Yeah.
here now, so
Right.
That's right.
she's going to be here in a different capacity at times, but she will be here, so it's
Now you get to
exciting.
go read to the kids.
Yeah.
Yay.
And I think we'll have that occasional phone call too, like, hey, Debbie, tell us about.
Exactly.
She's
Yeah.
that fount of knowledge, like I said.
All right, we will reluctantly call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-077 is reduction of the position of Curriculum of Instruction and Technology, and this is reducing from a .5 to not to exceed .25 of a full-time position.
A motion for this?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Happy to answer any questions you have about this, but basically I think it's what we've been planning, and when we get a few more resolutions down with the teacher on special assignment, this will help offset the reduction, and we'll still have a director of curriculum, and just be lesser commitment to that administrative position, but we'll still have a director.
Any other questions? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
And Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-078 is appointment of Director of Curriculum and Instruction, and this is one of the ones I added because we had to finish the interview process. So Mrs. Robin Wagner is the recommendation for Director of Curriculum Instruction and Technology.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second. Just to clarify, she will maintain her role at the elementary
you.
school, because
Yeah.
that'll be the next thing. You're not unemployed part-time, I guess you don't have to worry about that. What we're gonna do after this, we'll get these positions, and then we needed to work through some of this, and then we'll come back with a schedule. We're gonna redo some job descriptions, role and function will be Mr. Busenberg as well too, and then we'll come back to the board with some recommendations for calendar. Currently, Mrs. Wagner does not work a 12-month contract, and we'll figure out what we need, and we'll come back and make those recommendations most likely in the May board meeting.
Awesome. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
We're excited to work with Mrs. Wagner as well too. She brings a lot to the position.
I was gonna say, we
Yeah,
have
she-
learned so much.
Yeah.
Debbie, you're fabulous. We will miss you. But understanding, lower level curriculum and scores and all, you have taught us so much, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And more to come, so we get to keep
Yep.
working with her. so.
That's right.
Next is Resolution 26-04-079 is appointment of teacher on special assignment. That's another one where we left to be determined. And I'd like to recommend Marissa Hatfield, who's been in that position this school year, and that would be for the 26-27 school year.
And a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Questions? All right, I think we can call the roll on that one.
I just wanted to say that, working with her on the curriculum committee,
Yeah.
she's also been very helpful, just like valuable. Debbie Seibel, actually, Mrs. Seibel, excuse me, had some time off
Yeah.
unexpectedly, and Marissa stepped right into it and did a great job, helped us. And if we needed more information, she would give it. She had all the books out on the table and sent Amanda and I home.
Yes.
Bags.
Very heavy bags.
Very heavy bags. They were filled with books to read, which is also a part of what we do on the curriculum
Yeah.
committee, just
Yeah.
to let people know. We do read the books, the same books that the teachers get, the same books that the students get. So
Yeah.
very helpful this year, and I think she was also directing the Vantage.
Data
Yeah,
Center Day, yeah.
she had another commitment, or she would have been here.
Mhm,
She
I know.
was off today and wasn't here tonight, but she did so much with that. You know, she's kind of a, I'd say jack of all trades, but boy, she really jumps in and she helps on things and was tremendous.
She
So
was
we
very
look forward
excited
to
about that when she
future.
presented it to us.
Yeah, and even, you know, with the previous resolution with Mrs. Wagner, it'll be a good team.
Absolutely.
MJ has more of a high school focus. Mrs. Wagner's worked up through middle school, so there would be some good complement there. You want to have some variation in your team. So, and we'll be working with Marissa and seeing about our MJ, and we'll see about her schedule fits with Mrs. Wagner. But they'll be the team next year for curriculum
Yeah.
instruction technology.
Excited to continue to work with her. She has
Yeah.
a lot of
Absolutely.
exciting ideas.
Yeah.
She does.
All right. Any other things on that? All right.
Nope.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-080, administrative contracts.
Can I get a motion on that one?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
On these administrative contracts, just real quick, most of whom are true administrators, the school psychologist fits under that category, has in the school district, primarily because they commit district resources. They can be what's called officially a district representative, and they could, you know, if you had a special education need, let's say, for example, and it requires some district resources, they have some authority there along with the building principal and Mrs. Wagner, Grace Wagner. And then otherwise, everyone there is for a 3-year contract, except you'll note that Mr. Geis He's in the middle of a contract, but what this would do is put 2 more years on his contract, so effectively give him a 3-year, but otherwise everyone's all the same there.
Awesome. Any questions? All right, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
I do want to thank the board for, that organized in the period of transition here. It's good to get pieces, stabilized for the future.
Mhm.
So I really do appreciate, we've worked hard to get this list together, and I think it'll be good. I also want to highlight Mrs. Lowe. I was looking for her. She had to run home. She's not feeling well. But Alexis is her daughter, and she's a Johnstown graduate. So I think those are always nice stories when you can come back, to your alma mater there. So that's really exciting.
That's great.
Yeah, so at some point I'll have Alexis, she's finishing up her schooling in Northwest Ohio. But when the time is right, we'll have her come in and meet the board officially. But I just think that's a nice story to come back to where you graduated high school.
We love when people want to come back here and be part of the community.
It's a great place.
It's really the best.
It is the best.
Yep. All right.
I think you voted on that.
Yep, we
Okay.
did vote on
Okay.
that. I know, I was
Sorry, I
like,
was
where am
adding
I?
color commentary afterward. 26-04-081 is credit and content recovery support stipends.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second. The board has seen this, but these are basically summer supports to help students. It differs in each building. Elementary looks very different than high school. In the high school, you think more about credit recovery. We have less than 10 students now who are at risk of not graduating, some of whom I would tell you, move into the school district and are credit deficient. So, it's our responsibility to work through the summer and try and get them ready. So if they don't make graduation in May, there's another opportunity in the summer that they can try that secondary route. And if not, then it goes into a 5-year graduation, and we have a few students in those realms too. But again, not to generalize, but it's oftentimes students who are moving into the district that, haven't had the benefit of a Johnstown education, and we have to help close the gap for them, so. Okay.
Awesome. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-082 is an internet service agreement.
A motion? She can't.
I can't
I'll
motion.
motion. I'll second it.
Yep.
On this one, this is our internet service provisions, and 2 things about this. First, Mrs. Thomas will most likely have to abstain in this because of your professional role, so we understand that. Secondly, I want to compliment Mrs. Seibel and Mr. Busenberg. What you're approving on this is what's called part of the E-rate program, and it comes from the federal government, and we get a reduction factor that helps with communications establishment. In this case, it's about 60% on the dollar, which is really exceptional. So, we'll take that kind of reduction any day because it really helps us locally. But what I want to compliment Mrs. Seibel and Mr. Busenberg is this will change the architecture of the school district, and it will bring 2 different trunks into the school district from different providers. So what will happen is we will feed now from the elementary, and then it'll serve our intranet all the way through the other buildings. Same thing for the high school, and it'll backfill. So it's likely to think that we could have a severed or a down pole somewhere, severed in ground because of all the construction that's happening. So if that happens now, we have a resiliency system, they call it, kind of redundancy, but resiliency. So we could pipe from the elementary. It might choke it a little bit, but we can still keep the head end of all the buildings open and vice versa. So that's really a significant difference, and I am really appreciative of the change in architecture. It's something we won't feel so much, but if something happens where we lose one of the trunks on either end of the district, including the board office, that this will keep us up and running the head end.
Any questions about that? All right, call the roll.
Yes, I didn't hear who motioned.
Motion was Steve.
Okay.
Second, Alan.
Thank you. Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Abstain.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-083 are Chromebook purchases.
And a motion for that?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
This is an annual purchase. We're always looking at end of life, and we're looking at where machines need to be cycled out, oftentimes for security, and then we have a cascade where we, put the highest end machines at the high school and some other needs there too. So this is typical for what you see every year, and this meets our need for the coming year.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that we've built this into the budget for the technology committee, so this is something we do anticipate.
Yep.
All right, any other questions on that? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-084 is MAP testing, and this is to approve MAP testing for the upcoming school year. That would start, this one starts a fiscal year, so it's July 1 through June 30th, 2027.
A motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
I'll second.
I was just gonna add this is something, it's just an annual fee for us, so.
Yep.
Yep.
And we have this budgeted, as you noted, too.
Yep. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-085 is approval of Wilson Foundation's materials.
Can I get a motion?
Yes.
Or run?
I'll motion.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Yes, I will
Second?
motion.
I'll second.
And as Mrs. Davis noted in your summary before, we have a not to exceed on this because if the state gives us an approved list, then we'll go with version 3. But at this point, we can cover version 2 or 3 with this dollar amount. And then we'll only spend to what we need if it's less than this amount. If the state does not approve version 3, we'll stay with version 2. And we'll keep you updated about when we actually spend on that.
And Mrs. Wagner, we're supposed to know any day on that, correct?
Yes, I actually just talked to them yesterday, and they've been told they'll know by May 1st. So, any day, couple weeks.
All right, great. Questions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-086, our social studies curriculum, and this is for grades 4 through 12.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
Second.
Mrs. Davis covered this in her summary too, but as you said, Savas will cover grades 4 through 5, and then we'll have McGraw-Hill Secondary Social Studies series for grades 6 through 12. The board saw this in a work session, and it didn't go as expected. We had some differing views from the teachers, and we really appreciated that though, because at the end of the day, we were talking about this internally. It can be administration's recommendation, it could be the board's recommendation, but we authentically had teachers and they wanted to, move around a little bit. So, that's going to help their implementation that much more. So we really appreciate that feedback and then the board's participation at the work session.
And I want to thank the teachers that were on the committee as well, because it takes a lot of time out of their day or after school, before school to meet, and they're also reading all of the curriculum as well, and the books and the materials. So we only saw 2, they saw a multitude of vendors.
Yep.
So-
And again, Mrs. Seibel and MJ Hatfield, going through that. We had, it starts as a funneling process, and then we start looking at the state requirements to make sure we align there from a standard standpoint, and you look at your district and all too. So a lot of work there too. I saw the deliveries in and out, so,
And
just
it's
a lot
very
of work.
beneficial when the staff comes and also provides their comments, like they did the other night at the
Yeah.
work session.
Yeah.
It was very helpful for us to understand why they wanted 2 different curriculums for the grade levels.
Yep,
Yep.
I agree.
All right.
And the alignment of such I feel good about. If it was a break in the middle, and said this to the team, if we were gonna do one, 4 or 5, a different one in the middle school, and then back to the original one in the 4 or 5, those alignments sometimes won't work well. But this could work, and they had the rationale for it, so I think this will be good.
Yep, agreed. All right, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-087 is summer professional development.
Can I get a motion?
I will make the motion.
Second.
Second.
And this is pretty straightforward. This is for the new social studies curriculum that you just approved, and Mrs. Davis noted this before. We will get this ordered. In fact, we'll tell them tomorrow to get going on these orders, and then we'll get the materials to the staff, but then we also want to get the summer professional development to them so they're ready for the start of the next school year.
Great. Questions, comments? Okay, call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-088 is open enrollment for the 27-28 school year.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
This resolution is one in a long succession through the years, and what the school district focused on, and some of it predated me, but we've been working on it since I've been here, is to make sure to prepare for the future, and we know we're going to grow, so we've been restricting the amount of open enrollment every year, and what we wanted to do was give plenty of lead time, so it started in the early grades and it's worked its way up through the years, and then we've been advertising on our website even year ahead, last year when the board approved them juniors, we said, okay, get ready because seniors are coming as well too. So what this would stop is open enrollment for 12th grade for the 27-28 school year. Now I want to tell you from a policy standpoint, many school districts, at least in Ohio, have something called like a senior rule, and we do have that policy. So what this would restrict is anyone who wants to just generally come in for open enrollment. But if we have a family who is here and they want to, and they move after the start of the school year and they have a senior, our policy allows them to continue as long as they have adequate housing and they work through those arrangements. Okay. It's also going to be something from a policy standpoint we want to look at in general too. Just there's some nuance that's occurring too with some displaced families, and we talked about it at policy committee. So I think there's some things we want to look at in the future and probably update this policy because it hasn't been updated in years, but that's for more of our work at policy.
All right.
Call the roll. Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
That was louder than I thought it'd be. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
You're okay, Dion. I mean, it's when I get to see, I'm gonna go tell you this, I get to see the board and what they do, and you are busy, right? You had 4 nights, I think, last week, you got tonight, you got a special meeting tomorrow night, you got one on Wednesday, so you're,
And her wake-up meetings.
Yes, that's right.
At 8 o'clock for
That's
the
right.
policy.
Yeah, yeah, one day I started in the building at 8 and ended the day in the building at 8. I joked, I'll tuck my kids in May.
Yeah. Yes,
It's
that's
okay.
right.
You know what? It all is just work that has to be done, and it's okay. Because
That's right.
you guys will all be there with me this
Yeah,
week too. So, yep.
Resolution 26-04-089 is Phoenix Central Autism Seat Agreement.
Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second. What this is we're projecting ahead, but in order to get staffing for some special needs students, they can't just hire on the fly. So we actually book in advance, and if we don't use the spot, we typically can trade it to another school district if they need it, and they compensate for it. Once in a while, we don't use it, it's not needed, but that's very, and another school doesn't want it, and it's very unlikely, so that's what this process is.
Okay. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-090 is volunteer non-renewal for the 25-26 school year.
Can I get a motion?
All motion.
Thank you. And a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
So that there wasn't a conflict, we pulled Mr. Alan Thomas's name out of
That's
the
right.
consent so that Mrs. Thomas can abstain if she would like to do so.
Call the roll.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Abstain.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-091 is second reading of revised policies.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
I know the board has seen these, so if you have any questions, let me know, but this would make them official if you vote in the affirmative today.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-092 are second reading of new policies, and there's only one, there's 31.01, research and publishing.
Can I get a motion?
All motion?
Second.
Second. If there's any questions, otherwise there's just one there.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-093, first reading of revised policies.
Motion.
All motion?
Second.
Second. Let me know if you have any questions.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-094 is first reading to rescind policies. In this case, there's only one. It's 5112, entrance requirements.
Motion.
All motion?
Second.
Thank you.
Just bring it up.
Yep, no, it's
Quick
fine.
over there.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Resolution 26-04-095 is first reading replacement policy, and this is also 5112, entrance requirements.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Difference there is that when you rescind that policy, that previous resolution, because there were some updates,
Yep.
so it's just easier to start fresh. So
Mhm.
when you, if you approve this tonight, that'll just be the first reading, it'll come up for second reading, but you'll have a fresh policy to work from then.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
26-04-096 is first reading of new policies.
Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second. If you have any questions there, but we reviewed that in policy committee as well.
Yep. Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Board comments.
Yep.
Anyone want to start before I do?
Well, I have two.
Go for it.
Just want to congratulate, I saw today that 16 of our CNA students at high school in the brand-new program that started, I told you I was going to stay in this today.
Yeah, I have it on my list too.
Very
So,
proud of them.
yeah.
They completed their clinical hours at Tuscany Gardens in Pataskala, and we're very proud of all the students and excited to see where that leads them. And I just wanted to say one other thing. It was during the public comment about Vantage and the data center, and when students look at, oh, there's something different other than engineering or electrical construction, and that's all important. Because my engineer on the end there, he's looking at me, what are you? So I work for a telecom company, and we have various roles. Everything's in there from HR to finance. My degree is actually in accounting. And 32 years ago, I started working for a telephone company to audit the telephone bills. And when you start learning the equipment, then you start putting it together. I don't have an engineering degree as Helen Benton does, but my dad had one and I didn't, and he always kept saying, how can you do this? You're not an engineer. So there are other pathways to get you to, obviously I'm not doing the KMZ and the CAD drawings, things like that. I can read them, I can't draw them. But I manage the capacity inside of those data centers, or capacity at the customer's site. So we have different things. So don't ever think, and the contracts, negotiate the contracts, negotiate the renewals, which would be how long, just like what Mrs. Seibel just did. So there's other pathways too. Don't ever think that it has to be engineering, although it's a good way to get there, and we do have great engineering programs for that. So just wanted to add that comment.
I was just.
Well, now we know why you're detail oriented.
I do the
Yeah, account, that's why she finds.
Right? Ann is the one that she can say we're missing an apostrophe, we're missing a comma. Ann
And we
looks at
appreciate it.
every detail, and we value that, right?
Well,
That
thank
attention
you.
to
I
detail.
value each
And
of
now
you.
we know
Thank you.
why, Ann.
I do the short-term and long-term planning.
But I will add, you also think with your heart though at times too. So you're not that
Thank you.
typical
Well, detail-oriented.
accountant person just all the time too. If you think about the typology there, you often are very effective as well too. So we appreciate that.
I was just going to give a little bit of an update that we have started interviews for the superintendent search. Ann and I were fortunate enough this past week to conduct some interviews with individuals, and then this week the large board will come together tomorrow night and Wednesday night. We've got, can I say how many candidates? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have six individuals that we're interviewing that we're all really looking forward to that, and then depending on how that goes and schedules, then we are looking to bring our final candidates into the larger community for those interviews. So it's moving.
It's moving.
It's moving. It's moving and grooving. So it'll keep us busy, but yeah, it's been good.
Good. Anything else? You guys good? Good. Okay. You ready for my comments?
Yes.
Okay. Graduation, did you all get the request about your height and all too for?
They kept ours from last year. I'm sure
No.
she kept ours
Did
from
you
last
get-
year.
this afternoon?
Yeah, but, okay, let me make sure, I'll make sure we get
Hopefully
that.
they just kept ours.
Hopefully they kept
Well,
ours
they
from last
they
year.
reaffirmed mine this year
I
too,
haven't
so
got
I
it.
don't
Are you
think
still
we
short?
changed-
Sure.
What's that?
No, me, not you. Oh, no, me, not you.
I was
Okay,
pretty
retract
sure.
it.
No,
We put this
no,
up.
me.
Did
When
you get that
said
on
they were
record?
God.
We'll be starting the
No,
search. We'll be starting
no,
the
when
search
you
right-
said they're confirming, I thought you meant for
We'll
me.
be starting
They
the
confirmed.
superintendent search a little earlier now.
I'm still
You got a
short.
resignation when you put in, right? No, just kidding.
No, I mean, are they confirming that I'm still
It's
short?
okay. I'm just kidding. I am the
I don't
tall-
consider anything taller than me is not short.
I am the
so-
tallest at 5'8" in my family.
I don't consider you short. You're
That's
taller than
okay.
me.
That's okay.
Off the record on that one.
Okay.
Anyways, graduation, right? I'll make sure, I don't know if they reset the database this year, what happened with that, but I want to make sure that we get everybody measured, so I'll get back to you, and then make sure we get you on your calendar and get the dates. So that's just coming. You know, it's after spring break, it goes so fast, you know, so I just want to put that on your schedule there. But I'll get to you. So none of you have gotten an email about that? About
No.
the-
Nope, no email.
Okay, we'll get on that. I'm gonna put a star by that and look to my friends here, so we'll get on that. We'll do agenda review tomorrow on our follow-up items. That'll be fun. Piggybacking on what Mrs. Davis said, you know, I've been trying to help a little bit, but stay on the outskirts a little bit. Everything is set up for tomorrow. You have your special meeting at 5:30, and then you have Wednesday, and I gave you the schedule, so you have that. Also, we talked about a survey and working on that. There's two parts to that. One is we're looking at how we would distribute the survey, and Mrs. Seibel and Mrs. Hatfield have been working on that. It looks like we're probably going to be able to go through Power School. There's a chance with Google as well too, but there's some technicalities with that. A couple of you have been able to respond to the email, give me some feedback on the survey, so if you have anything else, please let me know. On that survey, there are some district questions, some of which relate to the superintendency and what you'd like to see. There's a couple questions about dress code in there, and we're able to target that so we can look at the 6 through 12. I know the board has looked at that. And then we even did some questions, it's a little hard to write, but on transportation, because we're talking about our routing and all too. So, you know, anything you could do to help with that. If you could look at your calendars also, we'll need to think about scheduling a follow-up depending on what happens this week, as you said, Mrs. Davis. We tentatively talked about maybe doing the community group next Monday and Tuesday. I don't think we're gonna be able to turn it that fast, because by the time we get the survey, any other comments that you have, and then we're gonna have to test it in the system, at best, I'll probably get that released on Wednesday at best. So I wanted to see, what do your calendars look like 2 weeks from tonight, and then 2 weeks from Tuesday? So that would be, what, the 27th and 28th? And then if you want to do it 5 o'clock, that works, or 6?
We already had a work session, so
Yeah,
we're gonna be
we
here anyway.
might have to adjust that, or
Yeah.
we could go with, if you want to keep the work session, we can go Tuesday and Wednesday as well. It's up to you. I didn't talk to any of you about that. But what I'm thinking about is we'll need one night, if not two, and you'll most likely, depending on what happens, have a finalist group of 3, I would guess. And then we're thinking about a process that looks similar like what we did with the athletic directors. So you would have different groups, and you have some people rotate within groups, and you guys will help with all that. But I just want to, so if we have the work session already, do you want to, are you available if we block the Tuesday and Wednesday of that week then? Maybe 5 to 8, I would say. That should be more than enough time.
So we're gonna keep the work session on Monday and then do the 28th and 29th?
That's a possibility. We could waive it if you needed the, you know, there's always something good in the work session, but if you needed to, we could calculate
next
it.
week, so that will help
So
us,
it'd be
yeah.
good. Yeah, that's actually a good change, because next week, if we had done it on Tuesday, there was a conflict with the city meeting.
Okay.
So that was good that we avoided that.
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
We wanted to
We
have
we're trying to move as quick
other
as
people.
possible,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, we wanted to have other people involved, and we wanted
Yeah.
someone from the
Oh,
city
I
to
see.
be
That'll
involved,
probably
right?
work, because there's,
So-
Their city council
schedule.
would be next
City
week,
council.
so
Oh, okay.
2 weeks we're
So
good.
Okay.
that works out great.
Okay. So really the question is, do we want to keep the work session as it is, and do you want one, if not, I reserve 2 days, or do you want to use the work
What
session?
items do we need to make sure do we need to circle back to transportation one last time before we're ready to make a decision? I know it's a little bit, I know it's 2 weeks out, so I didn't know if we had a tentative agenda. If there's anything pressing, that would be on our May board for voting. I want to make sure we can touch base if needed.
I honestly, with as much time as we've put in, unless you tell me, I think we could probably waive the work session, it's official, and make it a
Okay.
interview day, if you will, for finalists, if it works out that way. I think anything else I can keep up in my weekly updates to you, or I can, you know, I have the advantage, I can talk to at least 2 of you at a time, or can call each of you individually. I can keep you updated. The transportation, we're still waiting, you know, that is a big issue. We're
Yeah.
still waiting for that report to come back, but you know the parameters and where we are financially.
sure.
It's not gonna
Yeah.
really change that much. It's just a matter of logistics and how it would net out, but I can give you updates separately on that.
Okay.
Other than that, is there anything else that you're looking for updates on that we, okay?
Nope.
Okay, so you wanna look at Monday and Tuesday next,
Yeah.
or, I'm sorry,
The
2
27th.
weeks from today and
Mhm.
2 weeks from tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. Block 5 to 8, does that work?
Yeah, that's fine.
Again?
Yeah, that works.
I will send you invitations. Did you see that on your email, you had reserved, we had reserved Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. I canceled Thursday's meeting, and then I reset the times when I sent you invites for 5:30 tomorrow, like I said, and then Wednesday's 5, okay.
Okay.
All right, so
That's
we'll do that, and that's the,
We
that'll
also
be the
can give.
27th and 28th then, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that also makes sure we have a little more time to give notice to the
Well,
staff and community members
yeah.
we want involved.
The other thing is, can you start feeding me some names or positions? Mr. Koppel gave me some, I got those on the weekend. So if you have people you want as representatives, we'll want to get staff, we'll want to get, we'll have different representatives there. There's some community members, I know our sport organizations usually come in, but if you have different people you want to bring,
I gave you that list before spring break.
yeah, I have yours as well
I
too.
think
So
we
if anybody,
touched-
you don't have to do it tonight.
We talked about it when
Yeah.
she made it, so
Yeah.
I'm covered.
Okay, I'll review all that with you, but just so we have a
Yeah.
little bit of time, so I can start inviting people too, I can do that relatively soon. I'll
Okay.
get that done this week. Okay, but if you have anybody else, you have to do it right now.
Mhm.
Is there anything else with the process I can help with right now, or? Good? Okay.
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay, let me know if something changes. Couple other updates. I met with the PTO last week, actually it was later on Friday. They're scheduling This Is Home event. Again, so this is their second annual. And right now, well, it looks to be September 23rd. That's gonna be the date. And when the PTO convened the meeting, we have all the support organizations there. So we have band, vocal music, and athletics there too. So it's gonna be a collaborative again of our support organizations. So watch for updates about that, but if you just wanna pencil in September 23rd, that'll be the date. Mrs. Thomas talked about CNA students, so I don't need to repeat that, but, I will say this, another celebration of the district, that's our first year doing this program,
Mhm.
and look at where that's going already. And I think I've told you this before, we're still doing student scheduling, but We have, I think, 43 students in the pipeline for that program. We're looking at about 24, it looks like. We have 8 this year, and we told those students they'd be our ambassadors. Right now, we have to finalize student scheduling, but it looks like we could have as many as 24, or maybe I should say around 24 students. We'll see what happens.
That's awesome.
Isn't that tremendous?
It is.
You know, really to move
Absolutely
from
tremendous.
triple that, to go from 8 to 24. So we'll see what happens, so watch for updates. Talk about special board meetings already, and I think that's everything. Yep, I think that's it. So if you have questions,
Okay.
let me know.
What's the dates on our busing week again, where we track our busing?
It's in October.
Okay.
It's October.
First full week of October.
All right.
Here you
I just
go.
want to make
Come
sure
back
that
in
we
January, too,
don't
right?
have anything too big
And
going
then
on
we
that
can
week.
come back and do a revision
You
in
can do a
January,
revision.
too.
I
Yeah.
think for
can't
the
do it.
October, I think we really promote that as like Ride the Bus Week. As soon, I don't know if the date for this next school year is set, but I know historically it's been October.
We'll get that for you. And we'll see, but yeah, we'll definitely get that for you. I think that's it, unless you have questions for me.
I guess I just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion.
And a second.
Second.
It's resolution 26-04 to 097.
Call the roll.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Koppel?
Yes.
Mr. Frazier?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Benton?
Yes. This is the person that.
All right, thank you.